First, you're going to take 3 different sections of your fondant. We want to do 3 colors today. Since we're making 2 cupcakes, I can tell you I put way too much red on that, so just a little tiny bit of red. We're going for a pink, and we're going to have a dark and a light green. So once you've worked those in really well and you feel like your colors are solid, we're going to set those on our board and work with one section at a time. First, we're going to start with the pink. We want to take about half of that, spray some cooking spray onto our jar or our glass so it won't stick, and use it as a rolling pin. Then you can take the top of a cup or a mason jar and cut a perfect, like a cookie cutter, a perfect circle right into that. That's going to be your cupcake topper for our piggy. Out of that same flattened piece, you can take your butter knife and make a couple of cuts to create 2 triangles for the pig's ears. We're just going to take those apart and set them aside for right now. And next we're going to roll a little ball with a slight triangular shape for his snout. Now, getting fondant to stick together can sometimes be a little bit tricky, so I like to use a little bit of water and the back of my my cutting tool or my butter knife to rough it up just a little bit. Just like that. Then it sticks pretty easily. You can put the pig nose in place. I'm going to take the back of my butter knife and just make a little smiley face for my pig. And I also have a chopstick that I make the corners of the mouth with, and then also the snout. All right, so next we're going to place on our ears, kind of up the sides, but you want to make sure that you're leaving enough room for the candy eyes. And that's where our frosting comes into play. You should have a bag of frosting, and you'll want to snip off a small corner with your scissors. And just put a little tiny dot on the back of those eyeballs, and it'll help them to stick really well onto your fondant. All right, next we'll take our cupcake. We're just going to smear a little bit on the top. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's basically food glue at this point. And we're going to lay our piggy right down on there. Sometimes it might be helpful to pick him up with your butter knife, but there's our pig. All right, getting started on your second cupcake, you're going to take your light dough, spray down your jar, roll it out, and pierce the circle like same thing we did for the pig. And we're just going to set that aside. And then next we're going to make 3 balls. Or they could be, you know, kind of like cylinders or more football shape if you want. But one of them is going to be a little bit bigger than the other 2. And that one's going to be his head. Then we need to make his 2 little hands, paws, claws. I don't know what you'd want to call turtle hands. All right. So once we've got those built, we also need a tiny turtle tail. So that's just going to be a small flat triangle that we're going to stick on the back. Okay, we're going to set all those pieces aside and go after our dark green. And same process, spray it, roll it, stomp it, set it aside. So the dark green is going to be the top of the turtle shell. Once you've got that piece cut out, you can take the back of your butter knife, and what you want to do is just start cutting out some shapes. Mine were not very turtle-y, I didn't think, so I think you could probably do better than I did, but kind of an example, you just want to cut out some shapes. What we're going to do is just put a tiny bit of space in between those layers to give it a different look. All right, so we're going to tear those pieces off and separate them just a little bit from each other. Again, I don't know how I ended up with those shapes, but as turtley as you can get, or if you want to be wild, that's great too. So we're going to assemble the top shell with the dark color, and I had to trim around the outside of mine just a little bit since I did separate things and they started as the same size. So next we're going to start assembling. I apologize, my hands were not far enough in front of the counter, but what I'm doing right there is just taking the back of the butter knife and making that beautiful turtle smile. And then we're going to take a little bit of icing and just do a little line across there and stick his eyes right on. And making 3 icing dots, 1 for the head and 2 for the hands, is a really easy way to assemble your little turtle guy. And finally, last but not least, his turtle tail. Okay, and again, it's easiest to lift these with the side of your knife. So we're going to ice the top of the cupcake, pull off our turtle gently, and form him around the cake. There's our turtle. I hope you guys had a great time. Good luck.